Okay. Welcome everyone. Good evening to this another season of the computer training. Though I'm starting on time. So due to some engagements and other things. So please permit me. Okay. So like you all will know that we started last week and we were able to discuss to see computer classification of computers, and we were able to look at the definitions and what it takes. So today will be continuing with in where we stop. So here we'll be talking about computer system. So what is a computer system? It says computer system or a system is a set of computers or parts interconnected with each other aimed at achieving a specific goal to give you a desired result. The combination of different parts of or virus units gives a computer system. The absence of any of these physical and non-physical part makes the computer system incomplete. Now, what are we saying here? What are we saying here? Now, we have not that we have a differences within a computer system. Now, when we talk about a computer system, we say that this is a combination of other related components of the computer that makes it to be called a computer system. Like we have the system alone cannot be called a computer system. We need to have what we call the printer, we need to have the speakers, we need to have the scanners, we need to have the keyboard, we need to have the mouse. All of this combination of other parts of the computer joined together makes a complete computer system. In the absence of all these things, we don't call it a computer system, rather we call it a computer. So we have the differences between a computer and then a computer system, not these two differences. A computer system comprises of the following: the keyboard, the mouse, the external speakers, the printers, the scanners, the joystick, and what have you. Combine all these things together on the table, then we'll have what we call a computer system. But when we are talking about a computer, example is your laptop. Your laptop alone is what we call a computer. But when the laptop is on the table and then other related parts are connected to it, it is no more longer called a system, but it is called a computer system. Now, these are the differences. Now, let's look at components of a computer system. It says, having defined a computer system, the components, that's the physical and then the non-physical part, which are also known as the elements of computer, are things that make up the computer system. A computer system consists of two basic components and often the third. The third one is, we call it the human word, that is the operator. One will have the hardware, two we have the software, three we have the firmware, the personalware, or the people's ware. Computer system cannot exist without the presence of any of one of these components. However, hardware cannot function without the software. Likewise, software cannot function without the hardware. Now, two of them has to go together hand in hand. Now, Let's go with the first one. We call it the hardware. What is the hardware all about? This consists of all the various physical components and devices. What are the physical components or devices that we're talking about? There are three main parts of a hardware, which will have the peripherals, the cables, the peripherals, and the cables. These are the hardware consistence. We have the three main parts, we have the peripherals, and then we have the cables. Let's look at the three main parts. When we are talking about the three main part of the computer, we have the VDU, that's the visual display units, the system unit, and then the keyboard. Now, these are the three main parts of the computer that without the rest, all these three things can function. Except if you want to have the hard copy of what you want, then that is where you employ the services of your printer, employ the services of your scanner, employ the services of your joystick, and then what of you. The next one, we call it the peripherals. These are devices that are connected or attached to the computer system through an interface called the port. They are under the control of operating system softwares, e.g., we have the scanners, the speakers, the joystick, the mouse, etc. Now, these are peripherals that you need to combine to your system. That is another part of the hardware. Now, this hardware needs to be connected to the port. That's if you check behind your system unit, you'll see your port in that place. Yeah. So these are what we call the peripherals. Now, let's look at input devices. Now, an input device is any equipment that is used to feed or enter data into the computer. Types of input devices, you can name them. We have the keyboard, we have the mouse, we have the scanner, microphone, joystick, card reader, light pen, and then we have digital camera. Now, these are input devices that communicate or send in data to the computer for easy manipulation, because the computer alone cannot work on its own except you give it a manipulation, or you how do I call it, yeah, you send it and then the computer uses it and then it manipulates. Now let's look at the next one. We have the keyboard. Let's look at them one by one. Keyboard. Now, what is a keyboard? This is an input device that is normally used to type text, letters, numbers, special characters, and specific functions into the computer by pressing its button or keys. Otherwise, you can say by converting the keystrokes into codes for easy manipulation. That is, you can put it in another terms like that. Now, the mouse. This is a pointing device that is used to move the cursor in any direction. It is used to scroll up and down of a page, select options, open menus, and draw. Just like the printer, the mouse is used for selecting and deselecting of programs, used for reading of programs and icons on the desktop. And then what of you can think of. Now, let's look at the scanner. The scanner, this is a digital device that can read pictures or images, text, and objects, converting them into digital images that can be used by the computer. Now, scanner. Most of the times, you know what scanner is all about. When you go to any business center, just step into the business center and then you ask them to scan. Before you send in your documents to anybody, The person asks you to scan your document and then you send it to the person. Now, you are going to use what we call the scanner, and then you scan your document accordingly before sending it to the person that you want. That is what we call the scanner. Now, what do we call the microphone? This is used for voice and sounds input into the computer and for the internet phone's conversation. The most current microphone are the wireless type, which do not need to be plugged in. The headset is one of the most common style of microphone and a pair of headset like this one, the one I'm using now. This is part of what we call the microphone. The wireless Bluetooth you have is what we call is part of the microphone, and the external or the MP is part of it. Now let's look at joystick. It says this is a cursor in controls. This is a cursor control input devices which consists of a stick that is fixed to a base and position its angle or direct its movement towards the device it is controlling. Now, let me give an example with a joystick. Who has, if you have ever comes across a PS playing football match with a PS, you comes to agree with me that on the bat of the PS, on the bat which you hold to control the movement of the participant, you observe that will have a stick that you can roll, you can turn it, press it, but you cannot pull it out. That is what we call the joystick. And a joystick in a computer is also used for signature, digital signature of the computer. Next one, we call it the card reader. This is any input device that reads data stored on electronic cards, such as credit cards. For example, we have the ATM machines. That is an example of a card reader. The light pen. The light pen is used for pointing shapes like a pen with a light sensor dictator to the menu. Just like in some other, just like the phone will have or the iPad will have, you will see they will have a light pen. We'll call it this, just like your screen touch, you have a light pen, a stick that you can use to touch and operate, and then you can use it to navigate your cursor from one place to another. Next one, we call it the camera. This is also known as a diagram. It captures or record images directly by means of device that convert optical image to an electrical signals. Just like the way I'm teaching now, and then you guys are listening uh, is what we call I'm using what we call the digital camera of my system. That's why I'm able to talk, and then you can see me, you can see my demonstration, you can see what I'm doing. Except if I off the digital camera, then you cannot have access to me again. That is a digital camera. Now, the computer keyboard. Now we want to talk about keyboard. Structure of the computer keyboard. It says computer keyboard. The keyboard is simply a collection of keys or buttons on the board. This serves as a main tool for accessing and inputting data into the computer system. A standard keyboard has 101 keys, which represent individual letters, numbers, or special characters, and a few function keys, which have been put together into different groups depending on their uses or function. Now, functions of the keyboard. It is used to enter data into the computer system. It is used to give commands to the compute to the operating system of the computer, e.g., with Windows operating system, control alternate delete. It can serve as shortcut to carry out certain functions on application software. It can read and then write. Now, Keys on the keyboard. Now, let's divide the keyboard into uh, categories. Now, on the keyboard you are seeing here, let me stop and then show you something. Yeah. Now, on the keyboard you are seeing here is we'll have the keyboard into five groups. Just like we said, the keyboard are into five groups of keys. Now, one we have the alphanumeric keys, two we have the special characters, three we have the functional keys, four we have the movement keys, and then five we have the numeric keys. Now, looking at the keyboard is very dirty. Now, looking at the keyboard here, you see that what start from here to here, from here to here is what we call your functional keys. And then from here, like this, it moves like this and this, we call it the special keys. Then into this letters moves like this to this place is what we call the alphanumeric keys. Now, these four P's here is what we call the movement keys. And then this set of keys here is what we call the numeric keys. Now, as a good computer operator, or you are stepping into the computer community or profession, you are supposed to know what the keyboard is all about. You have to supposed to know your keyboard, the functions of each keys on this particular keyboard. Don't worry, tomorrow when I come next, I think I will put more interest on the keyboard. I will explain the keyboard and every keys pertaining the keyboard. I will have to explain them. Now, let's go back to the handouts and then we'll see what the handout there is all about. Let me share my screen. Now, let's look at the functional keys. The functional key, these are special characters or special keys arranged in sequence and labeled F1 to F12 at the top of the computer keyboards. They provide interesting shortcuts which makes a computer easy to use. The functions they perform depends the function they perform depends on the functions they perform depend on the installed operating system you have. Next, we have the numeric keys. The numeric keys, just like we said, these are numbers ranging from zeros to nine. It is used for inputting numbers alone. And then we have the alphanumeric keys. These are keys that are combined together to give you what to allow you to be able to input or control the functions of the keyboard. Now, after knowing all this onto the keyboard, please let me kind of give some an advice here for those that want to step into the computer and then use it as a means of business or a means of what you can think of. One, for you to step into a computer, if you want to go into a computer business, you want to learn computer, you want to have knowledge on computer, you need to be dedicated. Like, you need to be serious on what you are doing on daily basis. If you are not serious, you can't learn computer. If you are serious within the period of these 4 months that I will be taking you with computer, if I will teach you computer, and if you cannot be able to grab computer, then I don't think you can know computer elsewhere, because I take time to explain things one by one. I take time to explain steps by step for you guys to understand. And if you can't learn, if you can't open up to learn, then I don't think you can do it somewhere else. So I will encourage you to use these 4 months that I'm about to teach, this 4 months computer training, this 4 months project that I am embarking on it, to be serious in computer, because this computer you are seeing here has taught me a lot and a lot of things. Now I'm into cybersecurity. I'm into ethical hacking and penetration testing. How did I come to learn all these things? I start from the basics of computer. You have to know what computer is all about. You have to be familiar with computer concepts, the do's and the don'ts and the doings of the computer. I may talk, I may be funny, but that is just the reality and just the naked truth. You have to be serious, or else computer will just pass through you instead of you passing through computer. Yes, you pay a huge sum amount of money to learn for 6 months to learn. Even in the computer business center that I'm doing now, 3 months. If I'm to do 3 months, it's 30,000. If you don't do it, you leave it. 6 months is 40,000. Then advance come. That's we'll take that once for 7 months. I will take you as an apprentice. Apprentice. My apprentice. You learned the basic concept of computer business. Is 55,000. 55,000. That's just a naked truth. So it's better you guys should learn, 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 and learn. That's just it. You have to learn. Because if you don't learn, yes, very soon. So if you're not familiar with the concept of computer and other